Lindsey Graham is trying to do his best in defending Donald Trump against this impeachment trial that's coming up pretty soon in the Senate. And so one of the ways that he's trying to flex some power and basically hurt the Democrats, specifically the Biden administration, is by delaying the confirmation hearings for Merrick Garland, who Biden has tapped to be his attorney general. Now, Graham is still in the Senate Judiciary Committee. He's still the chairman of the Senate Judiciary Committee because the Senate has not passed its new set of rules for the new Congress. And so while he's in this position, he can go ahead and say, no, we're actually not going to hold the confirmation hearings for Merrick Garland on February 8th, which is what the Biden administration was hoping for. He told the press the following: the Senate is about to conduct its first ever impeachment trial of a former president and only its fourth trial of a president, incumbent or not. Under the procedure the Senate has adopted, Donald Trump's trial is set to start on February 9th, but you want us to rush through Judge Garland's hearing on February 8th. And impeachment is no small thing. It requires the Senate's complete focus. And let me remind you all of what kind of focus the Senate GOP has when it comes to this case. 45 of them have already come out to argue that the whole thing, the whole impeachment trial to begin with, is unconstitutional because Trump is no longer in office, which is a ridiculously weak argument that is without precedent. And so what do you mean you guys need to focus? You guys have already made up your minds. So what he's doing here is just trying to delay the confirmation of Merrick Garland, who, I mean, come on, like insult to injury, let's keep it real.
Yeah, I actually think that that's Lindsey Graham saying we're still in charge, and you guys better know it, because this is just a temporary blip. It just is. The Republicans are still in charge of the committees because they haven't gotten to that particular vote. So he knows Merrick Garland is going to get confirmed, but it's his way of peacocking, if you will, and saying, remember how we screwed over Merrick Garland before and said, oh, we shouldn't have a Supreme Court justice confirmed in the last year before an election. And then we confirmed Amy Coney Barrett 8 days before the last election. Ha ha ha. And I was the lead guy who rubbed it in your face, who said I would never, ever do that. And then I was the lead guy who did it. And now I'm gonna turn around and pour salt on those wounds and say, I'm gonna block Merrick Garland again, just to show you who's boss. So now.
Yeah, guess what? Republicans actually like to use power when they have it. Like that's the difference. They recognize when they have power and they use it unapologetically. They don't care about a damn thing Democrats have to say. Remember, the Republican Party passed tax cuts for the rich, the tax cuts that Trump proposed in 2017 through reconciliation. They didn't care to stop and have like a fun little negotiating party with Democrats. Are you kidding me? No, they're in charge. They're gonna do what they wanna do. And it would be fantastic if we had an opposition party to the Republicans who were willing to do the same thing, who were willing to know their own power, use their own power, and do it unapologetically.
Yeah, so we obviously were on the air. We've been on the air for almost 2 decades now. When they passed that giant tax cut for the rich under Trump, the press barely mentioned reconciliation or filibusters at all. They're just like, oh, obviously, yeah, no, that's it. Unity, you don't need any stinking unity. We're all about to get rich. All of us on TV are already millionaires. We're all gonna get even richer. So there was no talk of reaching out to Democrats and all that nonsense. So look, why is it delayed for the Democrats to get the chairmanships that they won in the elections? Because they're still negotiating over a power sharing agreement. What power sharing? What are you talking about? Well, the Senate's 50-50. Yeah, but the vice president breaks the tie. That means the Democrats have the Senate. There should be no power sharing. Why are we having a conversation? Do you think the Republicans would be having a conversation about power sharing if they controlled the Senate with the vice president? There'd be zero conversation. It would last 0 seconds. The fact that the Democrats encourage this, nobody's that stupid. The reason they encourage it is because they use the Republicans as a foil They don't want to pass the bills. Their donors don't want to pass the bills. Wall Street Journal came out with an article today. Democrats are begging corporations to come back and donate to them again. You know how corporations cut off funding after the riots? They're like, no, don't do it. We love you, corporate America, please. I want your bribes. I need your bribes. They're even threatening corporations. We might not vote with you unless you bribe us. Huh? I thought you said it wasn't bribes. I thought you said those corporate donations didn't affect your vote. Now you're going telling the Wall Street Journal that you're gonna vote based on whether you get paid or not by those corporations. That's who corporate Democrats are. So the Republicans are just a nice tool for them to do what they actually want to do on behalf of their donors who control them completely. Anyway, the second part of course, Lindsey Graham is he's saying, well, I also, now that I'm in charge and the Democrats have empowered me for no reason when they should never listen to any whiny little thing that I say. Even though I have no power, they're giving me the power, so I'll start bossing them around. He's saying, now I demand that you have no witnesses in the impeachment trial.
Let's go to that video real quick, Cenk. We have video of him talking about that. So this was during a recent cable news interview. Let's hear what he had to say.
I don't believe the speech given by the president fits the incitement statute, that it's not a crime. And there's mounting evidence that the people came to Washington, pre-planned the attack before the president ever spoke. So I'm confident of the outcome here. If the House managers want to use this as a political commercial against Donald Trump and Republicans, and they want to call witnesses now, they didn't call during the impeachment process in the House, this thing could go for weeks or months, and that would be bad for the country. So to my Democratic colleagues, if you vote to call one witness, none were called in the House, get ready for a long trial. But if you open up that can of worms, we'll want the FBI to come in and tell us about how people actually pre-planned these attacks and what happened with the security footprint at the Capitol. You open up Pandora's box if you call one witness. I hope we don't call any and we vote and get this trial over next week when it starts.
They don't want Democrats to call witnesses because Republican lawmakers have already committed to voting against convicting Donald Trump on the article of impeachment that the House has brought forward, which is of course his provocations toward the insurrection that took place and the riots that took place in the Capitol. They don't want to be embarrassed with the American people seeing evidence, hearing from witnesses, including the QAnon shaman who's now cooperating with authorities and saying that he did what he did because Trump told him to. It's not a good look, not a good look for Trump. But it's certainly not a good look for Republican lawmakers who are gonna vote to acquit him. They've already committed to that ahead of time. And Americans are gonna see, unequivocally, like this is what Trump's followers believed. They felt that they were being directed by Donald Trump to storm the Capitol and disrupt the certification of the Electoral College votes for Joe Biden.
Okay, so let's break down how hilarious this is. Number one, Lindsey Graham says, now I will threaten you if you try to do witnesses. Threaten me with what, man? You're not supposed to have any power, so why don't you just shut up already? So if I was a Democratic senator, that's literally what I would say. Oh my God, you have offended the sensibilities of Lindsey Graham. They try to murder you. We're still talking about their sensibilities? Okay, number two, he says, well, oh yeah, then this will be a long trial. Good. You just said it would be a political commercial against you guys. So why would we fear a long trial? Oh, we'll call witnesses too, like the FBI, to tell us how pre-planned this was. Yeah, by your voters. I fail to see the downside. It's like the world's worst threat. The only people that it would work on is Democrats. And then finally, you wanna know why he's actually scared to death of witnesses? Because Trump is threatening to come and be a witness for himself. And so this is Lindsey Graham partly going, no! Please, Donald Trump, don't testify. You know why? Lindsey Graham knows something that Trump doesn't. He knows that Trump's an idiot. And if Trump goes out there, he's gonna make a fool of himself and actually endanger his conviction. He has no chance of being convicted if there are no witnesses and he does not testify, because 45 Republican senators said, we bow to Trump again. We bow to the rioters. We will not do anything to hurt their beloved Trump. The only way he could lose is if Trump testifies. So that's why Lindsey Graham's going on Fox News going, Mr. President, no witnesses, including you dumbass. That's what that message was.
Thanks for watching The Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.